Hey guys, and welcome to a very special event with a very cool car. So this is a Honda concept called the Honda Zero SUV, and we're on this almost like light stage, volumetric stage, which is pretty cool. And in this video, I'm going to talk about this, which is hopefully coming to market in 2026 in North America and in Europe in 2026 or 2027. We're going to go through the exterior, the interior, and talk about what this means for Honda's future in the EV marketplace. So I was given the photos of this car before this event, and it looks very big in photos, but in reality, this is a mid-size electric SUV to compete with like a Tesla Model Y or a Hyundai Ioniq 5. And from this angle, it does look very special and striking. Unfortunately, there's a technical issue with this concept car because this is just a concept car. It's not a proper car where we're not able to open up the trunk. Because this is an early concept, we don't know the size, but it's supposed to compete with like a Tesla Model Y or a Hyundai Ioniq 5. And well, you can guesstimate that the trunk will be somewhere between like 400 and 450 or 500 liters. Also, the length, we don't have, the specific specs, but it's about 4.7 meters long. I'm guessing the wheelbase is going to be somewhere between 2.9 and 3 meters and about 1.6 meters tall. But this car we have here is more to just showcase the new design of Honda, where they are moving forward. And I think it is very cool, very interesting, and different to what we have seen from Honda in the past, and also other places in the marketplace. We're going to take a look at the interior, but as you guys can see from the exterior, we have these door handles that fold into the body, and it's also very clean lines, big surfaces, and this is what Honda are going to do moving forward is simplify their design. They're going to make the car as thin and light as possible, and also not smart but wise is what they've been telling us here today. So this is like a grayish white metallic paint color. We have really cool, black painted details. I'm pretty sure what we have here is probably going to look like a high-spec vehicle. Maybe entry level is going to be, matte plastics and stuff like that, and also not, this fancy paint color. But I think like from this angle, let me know guys, what do you think down below? Also, this car being a concept has virtual mirrors. I'm not a fan of that, but you can see like the footprint of them are very small. So of course, if they are this size, they are going to improve aerodynamics, but use-wise, in my experience, they have not been the best or the easiest to use. And also here, this looks to be a charge port. We asked them, but they could not confirm or deny if this was a charge port. So from this angle, I think this Honda Zero SUV looks pretty cool. I really like the front end. Not too sure about the rear. The profile is fine, but the front end, like with this face, is pretty cool. And also this, DRL light signature. Again, not sure if this is going to, be the final production design, but I really think this is pretty cool. And also with that illuminated Honda badging, and also just just the lines, the creases here. It has a definition, almost like a chiseled face, right? Where a lot of electric cars and cars now are round and have little definition. This is very distinct and unmistakable. A Honda, in my opinion. And this is, a little bit of this new Zero concept is bringing Honda back to the beginning, back to the basics, because this is going to be, well, not the first fully dedicated electric car platform. We saw that with the Honda E, but this is going to be what they're going to use moving forward for probably their saloon, the Zero Saloon, and also the SUV, and hopefully more models in the future. I asked them again, it's hard to know because this is a concept and they are, secretive about a lot of information, but it seems like there's not going to be a frunk. That is what they're saying early on now, which I think is a little bit unfortunate because it looks to be There looks to be enough room for a front car also. And also we don't know if it's going to be front wheel drive or rear wheel drive, or if there's going to be an all wheel drive version. But I'm guessing if they want to make this car competitive, again, we don't know the pricing, but they're saying C or D segment or mid-size electric SUV, and that means Tesla Model Y, Hyundai Ioniq, Hyundai Ioniq 5, and etc. That means it should be competitive. It should come with, a decent battery pack size, with 800-volt architecture, with fast charging. It should, in my opinion, be able to charge from 10 to 80% in less than 20 minutes for it to be competitive, and also price-wise should be from 50,000 euros or 45,000 pounds. I think should be a good price for a nicely spec'd one of these. But that's just my speculation. Again, hopefully in the future and in the near future, we'll be able to get more information about this car. But now, enough about the exterior, enough about the specs. Let's jump in to see this new Honda Zero interior. Welcome to the interior of the Honda Zero. And I don't know where the fans are running. Again, this is a concept and it's really warm in this studio. But this is something very, very different. I mean, there's almost like an echo in here because it is so airy. And you have this insane windscreen that, doesn't stop here but moves all the way here above my head, which feels a little bit weird, to be honest. But I think we've seen this in like a Tesla Model X, so I don't think this is too crazy to make it into production. I see something here that I don't like, and that is a virtual mirror. But if I turn my head around, well, there's a rear window, so there should be good enough visibility. But again, I've seen and tested these virtual mirrors in like the Polestar 4, and it's not too bad. What I'm not a huge fan of, I mean, first I'm going to say this design feels super cool. Like, materials are nice. I'm not sure if this is going to have real leather, but and also like the material quality, if this is going to make it into production. But soft and nice touch plastics. You have this cool carbon effect here on the dashboard or the center console, and this looks like to be a wireless phone charger. You're probably going to have a few cup holders here. And then you have your virtual mirrors to the side. But I'm not a huge fan of the large screen because there are no buttons. And in the presentation, one of the guys here called this their first, or I don't know if it's meant their first, but he was talking about this car being a software-defined vehicle, which is it's running a demo here because this is just a concept. Okay, that's pretty funny. No, he was talking about a software-defined vehicle, which I'm not a fan of because that means, everything is in the screens. And even though this is going to have like an AI assistant or an assistant called Asimo, like buttons, we still like buttons, guys, like volume knobs and climate control switches and stuff like that. But it looks pretty cool and futuristic. And also this has what seems to be a yoke, and they're talking about steer-by-wire. Again, very secretive. They don't have a lot of information. I think a lot is still on the decision board, and probably taking this opportunity to get a little bit of feedback from us. Okay, so it's just doing like a welcome sequence. But there's plenty of room here. Pretty spacious, but this having a yoke with steer-by-wire, that may be an option, and also only reserved for, more highly spec'd vehicles, because they were talking about low range to mid range vehicles may have just a normal steering wheel. But guys, let me know what you think. We can't touch much here. Again, this is just a concept, so it's not a real car. Let's hop into the rear once the seat sets back to its driving position, and I'll show you guys how much space there is in the back seat. So the car here has these automatic doors, and there's a technician off camera with like what looks like to be an old hi-fi controller, like from a receiver. It's pretty funny. But he's opening up the doors for us again because this is just a concept. So I'm not sure, and I haven't asked if the real car, once it comes to market, will have these automatic doors, which I think really doesn't matter for me, at least. We have seen cars like the Zeekr 7X, which has it, and I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not entirely opposed either. So this is a decent space. Like, I have enough room here. I'm about 5'10", 180 centimeters, 5'11", and decent room, like headroom is pretty decent, and also a lot of knee room, and there's also room for my feet underneath the front seats, which we have seen is not always the case with these skateboard platforms. So it's nice to see that there. Though there is like a small transmission tunnel. I'm not sure if that's going to make it into production or that's just, you know, cables running through the floor here in this concept. Either way, comfortable rear seats, and I really like the fact that, you know, the seat base is a nice distance off the floor, so you're not sitting on the floor. There's nice under thigh support. Overall, a spacious rear seat, and I can't move that armrest because, again, Chris, this isn't a real car in that sense. But they talked about a lot about maximizing the space, and if this is about the size of a Tesla Model Y on the exterior, I think they have actually maximized the space a lot because there is decent room here and it feels airy and it feels nice, and even these seats feel pretty comfortable. Okay guys, so that was my very quick tour of the new Honda Zero SUV concept. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time with this car. This is what we got, but hopefully in the future, I'm going to be invited to the launch of this, the proper launch. So guys, let me know what you think about this Honda Zero SUV concept in the comment section down below. It's looking promising, but we don't know, or there's a lot of things we don't know about this car yet, so it's pretty hard to make a judgment either way. But I think from like a design standpoint, from a concept, I think Honda are moving in the correct direction. So this may be promising for Honda and the Zero SUV for the future. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.